Hello. Good
Welcome
evening.
to the Friday edition of the Morning Hockey Shot.
Yeah, it works for me too. So I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate you putting the effort you do into covering AHL. I try to consume all media regarding AHL, so it's appreciated. I used to do a lot of it myself, so I know it's a lot of work
Yeah, it is a bit of a labour of love, you know.
for
I
sure.
appreciate that though. We do have a comment in here, Steve Moller, with the good morning and the wink face. Yeah, good morning, Steve. Steve's usually in here every single Saturday morning. Um, just talking about the Adelaide Adrenaline, Peter. As someone who's been involved with the league for a long time, and obviously a commentator, you see all these teams come through Newcastle every other weekend. It must be exciting for you as well to not have a top six settled and see the Adelaide Adrenaline still pushing for that final spot in the top six.
Well, there's really two parts to a season, right? There's a part of the season where you get to the finals, and then there's the finals themselves. And when you still have some actions, you still got some unknowns. When you get in late into the season, it becomes its own race. It becomes its own competition. So it does make it a lot more interesting than when things are very settled and there's nothing more to play for. You start to get dead rubbers and games that don't mean much, and they're no fun. So it's great to still have a lot of meaning in these games, and the guys will play passionately, and it makes a lot better a spectacle for us to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. How have you seen the Newcastle season play out? Um, I've written about the North Stars a fair bit in my weekly article. I've written individual pieces on the North Stars. I've spoken about the North Stars on this show with other guests and just talking to people in the comments. I'm big on the North Stars. I think they have a really, really solid squad, and I think they can actually win the cup this season. How have you seen the North Star season play out from your vantage point?
Well, I knew from speaking to GM Gary before the season that we weren't going to get some of our players into May, so I knew it was going to be a bad start, and it was tough, and it shook up also the confidence of some of the players. Charlie Smart, he wasn't playing his best early the season because it's a real confidence game being a goalie, but I have to say in the last few weeks, I think he's never looked better. So that's really kind of reflects how it got with the team. Once we got the Klugerman guys in, and we got Ethan Hawes back from the Aussie team, and we got Kim Tolberg, and we got Skachkov and Karel Kabat. You could see the team just stabilized at that point. And then once it took them a week or two to get a groove and to get the chemistry going, because they're starting third into the season, that they're trying to get all this running. But once they did get it, I mean, also was a period where we had a lot of matchups against some hot teams. We're playing the ice a few times. We had to play Mustangs, and we lost one. We played one in Brave, which we just lost. And then the next day, Rhinos beat us because the guys were absolutely wrecked after a massive game the night before. They were absolutely exhausted. And Rhinos played one of their best of the season, too. So, yeah, they deserved to win that one. And so that one kind of shook up the team. But from that point, it was a reset, and they have kind of come about. So that was mid to late May. And since then, it's been a different team. And we've seen that come to a few W's in the last few weeks and move them from six, even it was a seventh position at some stage, up now. I think they're fourth now. So yes, fourth now.
Yeah, at the start of the season, it was only sort of Francis Drolet as well. If you looked at, I suppose, just the points side of things, was sort of the only Newcastle North Stars player sort of in that top bracket of points through the league. And now you see now that everyone's sort of starting to come through. One of the big signings this season was obviously Casey Kabara.
Yeah.
And I feel like Casey's really settled into the squad now.
Well, yeah, he's actually just rocketed up the points ahead of Francis Drolet now. So it shows what a difference. And once he established himself, I mean, we've seen KCB the top scorer for any Aussie for the last few seasons. I'm sure he won it last year. I think he won it the year before too. So the highest scoring Australian. So you mix that up with being on a line with Kim Tolberg and Evgenii Skachkov. You're going to get production, and he's a guy who has the skills to play with those guys. And yeah, that's why he's rocketed up those points. Francis has been doing different work. He's been doing a fair bit of special teams and even some D in relief. So his points have slowed down, but his contributions haven't. And he's still playing a big part. But yeah, he's not racking up the points like he was earlier in the season when we only had one import for a long time. He was the import that we had.
Yeah. We got a comment here from Sean O'Connor. Hey guys, Doogie and Pete on the show. Amazing. Thanks for tuning in, Sean. I appreciate it. Evgenii Skachkov is someone I wanted to have a chat to you about. Whenever I watch the Northstars play and I watch Evgenii play, I'm just amazed that we've got someone the caliber of Evgenii in the Australian Ice Hockey League. And I feel like, and obviously there's not a whole heap of media, I suppose, around the AI. Obviously in Newcastle, it's pretty consistent media there with the local news.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
Yeah. Outside of that, I suppose there's not really much sort of around the country. And down here in Melbourne, David Booth obviously has got a lot of the headlines as coming in as this big signing. But when I look at someone like Skachkov, I feel like he's on par with David Booth in terms of quality actually coming into the competition. How good has it been to watch Skachkov play this season for the Northstars?
Yeah, it's funny because when you see David Booth play, and I've watched him for three games, I think, against North Stars, plus other games against the teams, and I saw him play for the US team a couple 2 nights ago. I was commentating that with Eric. I mean the guy's explosive. There are times he just leaves the rest of the field behind, his own teammates and the others. So he's really an obvious superstar. But Gino, what the guys call him Gino. He's not as obvious. He's very subtle, but he makes a huge difference to any team he's on. And it's just in simple things. He's so hard to get the puck off. He makes such good decisions. His vision of the ice is so good. And excuse me, typical. Can you get rid of the cat, please? As soon as the camera's on, the cat's going to show up for sure. Yeah. He's a guy that really makes a big difference to any team he's on. I mean, he just turned 40, but you wouldn't know it. The guy is fit, he's fast, and like I say, he's glue that puts a team together.
Yeah. Sean O'Connor has just got a comment here. So many KHL games. That is a very impressive league. Absolutely, it is. Yeah, that's why I look at someone like Skachkov, and I feel like that someone like Skachkov is sort of on the same level as a David Booth. Obviously, Booth has got that big NHL pedigree, I suppose, but in terms of individual quality and what they bring to the team, I feel like Skachkov's definitely at the same sort of level. It feels like as well, Peter, that Skachkov has come in with really the right mindset as well to play in the Australian Ice Hockey League. Do you find that as well?
Yeah, I think it's not the only place he's played. He's also played for Romanian national team. I've tried to talk to him, but he doesn't have a lot of English, but I believe his wife's an English teacher. So it's hard to get a real conversation going with him, but he knows hockey terms, he knows hockey words, I really like to see. What I'm trying to say is guys like David Booth, like Skachkov, and even Kim Tolberg and Kirill Kabat. These guys later in their career, they're in their late 30s, 40s. A couple of the guys that are that list are in their 40s, but just like we've seen with Timmins and guys like that, you get them in at that age. Sometimes I think, you know what, I'll stay here, and then you get this huge addition to ice hockey in Australia. So I'm hoping that they love it here. We can keep them, and I'll include David Booth and all the other guys in that as well, because just like in the past when we had guys like Gary Dore and who came to the country and decided to settle here, they made big contributions over their time to the league and to the teams and all this and the coaching and the improvement and the knowledge. And it's really part of why hockey keeps to growing and improving in Australia is because of those people. So I'm hoping that Evgenii Skachkov and Kim Tolberg and David Booth and a lot of those players that come over here decide to stay, and they'll make the sport much richer here.
Yeah, absolutely. You can only hope, fingers crossed. Sean's in the comments as well. This is a big one as well. I also think having Riley Klugerman back for the season after being injured last season has been like a new big signing for the Northstars too. You agree with that, Pete? It's a very talented and highly rated young man, Riley Klugerman.
Yeah, we've been so lucky. We've picked up Riley and his brother Hayden. Last year, Riley played one game for us with his brother and then got an injury, and we didn't see him till finals again. And this year, we've had both of them come in. They had to come in a bit later. They came in May. But once he got a groove on, he keeps improving. And Hayden's had a massive improvement too. We haven't seen him as much in AIHL, but he's killing it in East Coast Hockey League, East Coast Super League, I should say, our feeder league in the New South Wales League. Those two guys, but Riley is like an import. It really is almost. I mean, look, if you saw where he's played, you wouldn't pick him up as an import. Well, you might. I mean, you could, but he's playing at that level, is what I'm trying to say. His credentials don't look like he's the level of the Schindel and Hops and those guys we've got around the league, but he can play to that level most of the time. And as he continues his college career, I think he'll reach that level where he's going to be a guy with an Aussie passport who plays at import level, which is what we see with Ethan Hawes as well. So yeah, for us, it was a massive coup for Gary to find the Klugermans. Riley's mum grew up in Newcastle and married a Canadian. So when Riley and Hayden were first coming over, they're actually staying at his aunt's place here in Newcastle. So while they weren't born here, they are half Newcastle stock, I guess you could say. And then we had Liam Ryan come in as well, another half Aussie, and of course Ethan Hawes. His grandparents are from this area. I think he was actually born overseas, but yeah, his dad's Aussie, and I've got to know Angus pretty well too. He's a good guy. And actually, even Ethan Hawes' brother's a really good hockey player, but he had some injuries, so he hasn't been playing lately.
Riley Klugerman's 18 games played, 26 points, 11 goals, 15 assists. So that sort of shows you the quality that Riley has for the North Stars this season. I am here with Peter Lambert, a colour commentator for the Newcastle Northstars at part of Thought Fox Media. Drop a comment in the chat if you've got a question for Pete, if you're tuning in live. Someone you did mention there was Kirill Kabat. Didn't travel down to Melbourne. Obviously, I think Kirill was suspended, I believe, for a couple of games or a game, I believe. I'm not sure. I could be incorrect on that.
He had one last visit to Melbourne. He had one game suspension for a slash.
Yeah.
But no, the current situation is he's had a family emergency. He's had to return home. So family comes first, and we hope he can make it back, but we don't know. It really depends. So it's a matter for him, and I'm just hoping everything's all going well at home for him.
Okay, fingers crossed for that, and wish him all the best. I just was going to say a really important player, and I was someone that I enjoyed watching because he played on that real edge and gave a bit of grit for the North Stars this season. So it's a big loss if you can't return, but obviously family comes first, and we wish him all the best.
Yeah, we do have one bonus. We've got Ryan Ansley back. He had some time. I think he had a small injury. Then he went overseas, and then he came back and got COVID. So we've had a bad run. We only had him for a couple of games after he came back, and then he got COVID. But I think he might be back this weekend. And Ryan was an import, and he still plays. He still plays a great game. He's absolutely import quality these days. So while it's a big loss not having Kirill Kabat, having Ryan plus Brian Funes for these two veterans we picked up from the Bears for this season on loan, unfortunately. That he's going to make a big difference, and that's why I'm still confident in what this team can do.
Yeah, and Ryan Annesley was going at over a point per game as a defender as well, so definitely import quality there. Someone else that I've been big on as well, and I mentioned in the last couple of weekends, and I'd like to get your take as well. I think he's probably the most important player for the North Stars to make a deep finals run. That is Charlie Smart. And I think we're starting to see, and I'm a big fan of Charlie. I think Charlie's a fantastic goaltender. And I think obviously had the shutout a couple of weeks ago, was really, really good in Melbourne, even though despite the loss on the Sunday against the Ice. Do you see Charlie as the most important piece for the North Stars to make a deep finals run for the Cup?
Well, goalies are crucial. They are the linchpin position. They probably, out of all positions, they make the most difference. And I think that game where he got the shutout against Perth Thunder was the best I've ever seen him play. I thought that was excellent. And the one against Mustangs also really good. Unfortunate for him, he just missed out on a shutout there. I mean, 8-0 would have been crazy. But and especially considering the firepower Mustangs have, even without Scott Timmins. Yeah, I think it's going to be super important for the North Stars, and it's really good to see him picking up confidence and, of course, success at this time of the season. That's when we really need it. Yeah, at times I think his confidence has been shaken, but I think the guy's really behind him as well. And having Horrence Chung there as someone who's pretty similar in level to be able to come in and relieve him as well, that also has taken away some of the stress of the position. I think he knows he can hand off to Horrence Chung if he needs to, and the team's still in good hands. So, yeah, I think it's a good time for Charlie, and I think he's going to keep this up and maybe get better before we get in the finals. So he's definitely coming in at a great time.
Sean in the chat as well. I've also been impressed by how Brian Fumes has integrated into the team. That's something that I noticed as well. When I was at the game last Saturday, the Mustangs and the North Stars, one of the Mustang players wanted to throw gloves with Brian, and Brian wasn't having a bar of it. It seems like Brian brings a lot of leadership to the team as well, even though the team, I suppose, is very experienced. There's a lot of experience in the North Stars team. Brian does bring that experience of being part of the AI for a fair while now.
Yeah, I think Brian's one of those classic guys that loves hockey, like super chill and such a nice guy off the ice. And he's just got a little bit of the trickster in him when he gets on the ice. He likes to stir people and have a little chat and just smiles at people, just drives him crazy. So it's been a lot of fun to watch him do that. But you're not wrong. He actually has a really good chemistry with that team right now. And even though we haven't had Ryan Ansley that much, he's had a really good chemistry and he's made a huge contribution for this team for this season. So it's going to be sad to see him go back to the Bears. But yeah, I know he's having a ball of a time as well. It's a bit tough coming from Sydney up to Newcastle to train and to play, but he's really enjoyed himself. So I guess that's taken the edge off it, and we've been really lucky to have him.
Got a stat here from Sean as well. Smart is getting hot is so important for the North Stars. He's now one shutout short of 5, which is be a fantastic milestone for Charlie Smart to pick up.
Yeah, I think it's been a couple of years since his last one, so it might have even been back in the teens when he had his previous one. So, like I said, a great time to get hot, and pretty close with that other game with the Mustangs, and who knows. So, just going forward, I think we've got Brave, which will be a tough game down in Canberra. That's exciting to play down AIS. They play Rhinos, they play Adrenaline, and then 2 up in Brisbane. So it's hard to say with some of those guys. Some of those games could be quite tough because we got teams that are desperate, and the teams that have played well at times, and of course, are going to come good when you show up. So sometime, and so you got to put pressure on them and try and hold them down because you get a resurgent team that can spoil your weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those teams they'll be scratching and crawling for any sort of point they can get as we head towards the end of the season. 100%. You've got the big call tomorrow. I'm guessing you're on the call, or is that Erina? It's at Erina. Your North Stars are away. I thought it was
I got a break. Yeah, next weekend I've got the last home game. The following weekend against Adelaide. That'll be my last call.
Yeah, that could be a big game, depending on what happens with the results and the Adrenaline still fighting for a position in that top 6. It could be a very good game.
They've got North Stars Rhinos that weekend, so that'll be a good test for them because it looks like they've got to bye this weekend. I think Adelaide. So yeah, that'll mean a lot for them. And then they've got Thunder and then Ice, so that'll be a nice test for them as well. But if things go well for them, they're still in the hunt.
Yep, absolutely. Sean's got a question as well. Are you going to the AIS for the North Stars Brave game?
I'd love to, but if it was a Saturday night, I would be there. But Sunday night, and I'm a TAFE teacher. I've got a difficult class in the morning, like teaching routers and switches and all that sort of stuff the next morning. So no, I've got to study the night before. I can't I can't get home at 1 or 2 in the morning and get up and teach in the next morning. So I would love to. I was really excited to go see that rink. I know Michael from Thought Fox, he's been down and checked it out. He took his family down to, just get the whole experience of the rink, and he really enjoyed his time down there. His whole family did, and some of the other guys have been talking to who've gone down to watch the games have really enjoyed the experience. So just like it can be fun it's a lot of fun to go to O'Brien, and when you go to the smaller rinks, when they get full, the atmosphere is really electric. But yeah, I'll be really looking forward to being in an AIHL game of 3,000 people. Just kind of blows my mind, but it doesn't surprise me. It just shows that it's possible. We just need more people with money bags that are in government and private industry to see that what's possible. But at least we've proved it now. Like AIS has proved in a smaller city, doesn't have to be the biggest ones, that we can support a rink of that size and that many people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. I enjoyed myself when I was there. It was a really good experience in terms of hockey sort of fan experience. I still think in terms of specific facilities like hockey built facilities. There's probably others that are there like O'Brien or even Hunter. I really enjoyed Hunter when I was there last year. I thought it was a really cool barn. But yeah, just a 3,000 capacity arena. It's totally something different than what we've ever felt before with the AI. So it was really, really cool.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah. Peter, thanks for giving up 15, 20 minutes. I might have even got a little bit longer of your time to jump on and have a quick chat about the Newcastle Northstars on tonight's show. I'm big on the Northstars. I mentioned earlier, I've been big on them. I think they can win the cup. I think they've got a really solid squad. I look forward to hearing you on your last call this season. And if you're down in Melbourne for the finals, look forward to catching up with you.
Yeah, I do plan to be there. I've booked flights and accommodation. So otherwise, yeah, I'm not going to Brisbane. I won't go to Canberra because I am going to final. So yeah, I'll be there. I'll catch you then.
Cheers. Thanks, Pete.
Cheers. No.
Peter Lambert, the colour commentator for the Newcastle Northstars, part of Thought Fox Media Group.